I'm in almost every school bus and classroom. I go to school with your children. We say the Pledge of Allegiance together. You see me around the neighborhood and you tell me that I'm a pretty good kid. Well, I'm one out of every 5 children in America, and I'm struggling with hunger. This problem is closer than you think. My teacher tells me we can grow up to be whatever we want. I want to grow up to be someone who doesn't go to bed hungry. There's enough food in this country to feed everybody. Please visit feedingamerica.org today and find your local food bank for ways to help. Every dollar you donate helps provide 8 meals for kids like me, quietly struggling with hunger. Together, we are Feeding America, brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
AM 1470 WNN. Listen live at wwnnradio.com and like us on Facebook. Search AM 1470 WWNN.
WJL Financial. We can help.
Got a home in bad shape you need to sell? No problem. WJL Financial will buy it for cash, as is.
You don't have to spend a lot of money on the house. We buy them as is. Does your roof leak? Fine. I'll buy it. Windows busted? No problem. The kitchen needs repair? Hey, no big deal.
Call WJL Financial. No one buys more homes for cash. Any condition, any title or code problem, you get cash.
We've bought over 1,500 homes.
We're cash buyers. We have no problem getting the money.
And they have a lot of money to spend. So call WJL Financial now and sell your home or property. No fees, no hidden costs. Call 1-888-839-2444.
WJL Financial. We can help.
Sell your home cash. Call 1-888-839-2444.
Talk 1470 WWNN Pompano Beach, WKIS HD3 Boca Raton, Miami, Fort Lauderdale.
AM 1470 WNN with more of what you need to know. Don't miss Lisa Macy with the Justice Hour, Tuesdays at 1 and Saturdays at 3 on Health and Wealth Radio, AM 1470 WNN.
I'll never forget that moment.
As long as I live.
It was a moment.
It was a moment that changed my life.
We looked down from the chopper and saw the whole area was flooded.
At that moment, it really hit me. This is why I joined the Guard.
People had gone up to the rooftops to escape the rising waters.
Talk about intense moments. We had to lower the guys on line some 30 feet down.
This is where teamwork and training really paid off.
It took steady nerves and steady hands for the chopper pilots to hover like that.
No question, Guard pilots are the best in the world.
I couldn't believe it. I just saved a life.
What could be better than serving the people of my hometown?
In the National Guard, you serve your community as well as your country while you work or attend college. In return, you gain skills in which you can build a career and receive benefits that can help you pay for college. Learn more about what it means to be a citizen soldier at NationalGuard.com.
Sponsored by the Florida National Guard. Aired by the Florida Association of Broadcasters and this station.
What you want to know. What you need to know. Talk 1470 WNN.
General, we've spotted a rip current on the Panama City Beach shoreline.
Notify the local lifeguards. Get me all the info we have on rip currents ASAP.
Yes, sir. Rip currents are strong, narrow currents that flow away from the beach. They can form at any time of the day and any day of the year. They can be identified by the discolored and choppy water that they produce. For more information, visit www.floridadisaster.org.
Good work, Private. In transmission.
Brought to you by the Florida Division of Emergency Management, the Florida Association of Broadcasters, and this radio station.
The opinions expressed on the following sponsored program are strictly those of the host, guests, and callers, and not necessarily those of the station, its staff, management, or sponsors. Welcome to the Golf and Travel Show, the place to fine-tune your swing, dress for the course, club, or cruise, and get tips on the best places to play and stay at the right price. Vacation or staycation, host Dan Shub, along with his expert co-hosts and guests, will tell you where to go. To play golf and vacation, that is. Now, here's Dan.
And welcome to the Golf and Travel Show. I'm your host, Dan Schub, and tonight we're going to have some fun. We're going to talk golf, we're going to talk travel, we're going to talk all sorts of neat things, and we're going to have some wonderful guests, some experts that will lead us on this journey around the world, actually. We're going to be, it's a diverse show tonight for sure. In just a few minutes, we're going to be talking to golf course architect who resides right here in Jupiter, Florida, John Sanford, and he's been working on some very, very cool projects, including a major one up in New York with the Golden Bear. And then a few minutes after that, we will be hearing from Erica Gregory, and she's the general manager of Windridge Yacht Charters, which is based in Fort Lauderdale. And they have a great fleet of these beautiful yachts, and I was on one recently, so we can all learn a little bit more about that and some of these charters and how you can explore the beautiful waters here in Florida. And later in the show, just when we're getting real hungry here, we're going to be talking to Miranda Seeger of Go Today, and she's going to be filling us in a little bit about some tours throughout France and Italy that focus on the food, the drink, the fun, just... sounds terrible. I just don't know how I'm going to listen to that. But it should be a lot of fun, actually. But first, what I always like to do right around this time is introduce you to my co-host. And he's that guy with that perfect swing, or at least the guy who knows how to teach you to have one. And that, of course, would be Jess Frank, the PGA teaching professional and owner of the Jess Frank Golf Academy at Boca Dunes Golf and Country Club right here in beautiful Boca Raton. And Jess specializes in on-course instruction with V1 video analysis. He believes every lesson in swing is different. Just likes to focus on the scoring part of your game, the short shots that he can teach you right there on the golf course, which instills plenty of confidence. Some of you may know him from his work in area country clubs such as St. Andrews, Boca Lago, and Broken Sound. Just loves to teach, has a passion for the game because golf is challenging if you haven't noticed, but Jess makes it easy for you to learn and excel. And how are you doing tonight, Jess?
I'm doing fantastic, Dan. Good evening. Hello to everyone out there. And another beautiful day in Boca Raton, Florida, and a wonderful day for golf and just getting out there. And it's still light out, so you could still be on the golf course right now if you wanted to.
You could. Yeah. And if I wasn't here, that's where I would want to be.
That's a beautiful thing.
And one reason why I would love to be out there on the golf course is I just feel so good. And you know why I feel so good, right?
Oh, yeah. It's about time.
It is. And that's because I got my 2-under, boxer briefs and with the wonderful Joey pouch, which takes good care of all the valuables.
Yeah,
but
right.
I wanted to remind everybody that you too could be feeling the way I feel. And all you got to do is go to our Facebook page, which is facebook.com/The Golf and Travel Show, and make sure that you like the page and put in your pick for the U.S. Open, which is just about a week away.
Ooh, it's wide open field, especially with Phil Mickelson having his off-the-course troubles, and you never know who could win. There's so many good players out there, Rory McIlroy and Henrik Stenson. These guys, anybody could take the U.S. Open Cup right away.
So all you got to do is put your pick down. The two folks who pick the two highest finishers will each win 2 pairs of 2-under boxer briefs for themselves or their significant other.
That's definitely going to improve their golf games.
And their whole outlook on life. I mean, look at me. Have you ever seen me so happy?
I've never seen you happier, Dan. No wonder that smile's ear to ear, baby. So I don't know what's going on. Now we know it's a 2-under Joey pouch.
It has to be. And if you want to go check them out, you can go to 2-under. That's the numeral 2 UNDR.com and find out more about it.
It's worth your time because they are fancy underwear and they will keep you cool and they will improve your game.
At least by 2 strokes anyway. Or something. I don't know. But also, I wanted to just remind everybody about a friend of the show.
Yes.
And makes me thirsty, though. But that would be Nicole Henry. And Nicole Henry we had on just a couple of weeks ago. And in, let's see, I guess that's a little over a week and a half. On June 18th, the two of us are going to go see her. And that's because she's got her residency going on at Jazz's Nightlife, which is a beautiful jazz nightclub just up the road a piece in Meisner Park.
Oh, yeah.
And she will be putting on 2 shows on Wednesday, June 18th at 7 and 9. We'll be at the 7 o'clock show, so if anybody would like to stop by and say hello.
Yes, we will. We'll be there, taking in Nicole Henry.
Yeah, absolutely. So you can find out more by going to jazzisnightlife.com or call 561-300-0730, and you can also go to NicoleHenry.com to find out more about it, and we'll remind everybody, and maybe we'll critique the show. I know she's always good, but we'll have to do our own little review afterwards.
I'm excited. I mean, I haven't really sat there for a whole show yet, so I've been in and out of there. Boca Chamber of Commerce loves to do their events there, and it's a wonderful venue, and it's good food, good service, good drinks, and
good song.
To hear some good music is even going to be better. So I'm looking forward to it.
As I am too. And the other thing that I always look forward to.
Oh yeah.
Is some pearls of wisdom. This is the point of the show where you have a little something to give away. Not everything, because if they want everything, they got to come and study under you at your academy.
Exactly. I have all kinds of coaching programs available for our listeners out there, so absolutely they would benefit from coming and checking us out.
But if anybody were to listen to every single show that we do,
they might be a scratch handicap right now.
They could be. So if you've missed any, they are on our YouTube channel. You could go back, but it's a lot easier, I think, to do it in person with you. But just for the fun of it, why don't you throw out a little bit of something, a tip that everybody can benefit from?
Well, what I love to do with especially beginners, even with the people who've been playing for a while, is get them right on the golf course and work on their short game, and getting them on the golf course because people don't realize that 70% of their shots come from 80 yards and into the hole. So, I watch them, I get them on a hole out at Boca Dunes, and we play a hole, and we actually start from the green back. So we start from about a 1-foot putt. I'll watch them make that. Then we'll go to 3-foot putt. They'll make that. 10-foot putt gets a little dicier now, so we spend a little time around the greens on.
That's like a free throw.
10-footers, yeah, like a free throw, exactly. But the majority of putts come from 20 feet and in. So then our next is 20-foot. And if they can 2-putt 5 times in a row, we go back to chipping. And so from chipping, then we watch, because the chipping stroke is very much like a putting stroke. And what's really important that I see with a lot of my students and a lot of people coming to me for golf lessons is that they get too much tension. It's almost like they have the death grip. So they have to really soften up their wrists and their fingers. And so I kind of show them how to do that. And then we get them chipping, and we get the ball up in the air. Then they chip it close, and because the putting stroke, once they get comfortable with the putting stroke, the chipping stroke is very similar. So we go around the green, we chip with a couple different clubs, maybe a pitching wedge, maybe a 9-iron, maybe a sand wedge, chip it around the green there, and they'll see the results right away. So they start building confidence, and which is so important in golf. I've put all the positive deposits into the bank account, and that's what we want. And then we go back a little bit farther. We'll go back to 30 yards. We'll take out the pitching wedge. We'll hit a few pitch shots from about 30 yards. We'll move around the green. And in fact, I did this with a beginner student of mine today, and she went from, this is her third lesson with me, she went from, never holding a club to now she's pitching the ball 30 yards up on the green and up in the air, and she loves it. And now she's hooked on golf. She came and bought a set of clubs. She's got shoes, the whole deal. And so, and so now she's excited and she wants to play golf. And, that's what it's all about. And if you start with people around the greens on the short game, the game becomes kind of easier to digest. When you're on the driving range just trying to hit driver and the ball's going all over the place, you're not accomplishing anything. So you can accomplish a lot in an hour and a half, 2 hours, whatever it may be, around the greens, 30 yards, 40 yards, 50 yards, 80 yards and in, and all of a sudden they see themselves hitting the ball on the green, getting up and down from 80 yards when the majority of people never practice that type of shot. So, and then they wonder why they can't lower their scores. So now we have a beginner has a lot of confidence, and then next lesson we'll move back a little bit farther, and so we'll be able to play a couple holes. So she'll be out on the golf course within a couple weeks, or she's already out on the golf course, but she'll be playing full length holes in a couple weeks, and she'll be off and running. And so it's really quite an amazing thing to see when you get somebody who's brand new to the game and you get them out there hitting the ball and they love it, and get them hooked on golf. It's a lot of fun.
Now, obviously, some people who are fortunate enough to live on the golf course maybe could sneak out there, you know, around this time of night or something and do this. But obviously, a lot of people get their lessons at a driving range, and it's not as simple. So, I mean, you're fortunate that you're at a facility that enables you to give these playing lessons relatively easily.
It's definitely an advantage to teach over at Boca Dunes because we do have the availability to get out there. But a lot of times, people just don't have a plan of attack either. They don't quite understand how to practice. And so when you go to your PGA professional, usually these people have played golf for a very long time and played it at a decently high level. I mean, they might not be on the PGA Tour, but they know how to practice. They know how to work on their games. They understand what makes you a better golfer. And so what happens is that when you have a professional take you and train you, whether it be myself or one of the other 28,000 PGA professionals out there, it's definitely an advantage to go to somebody like that who can show you the proper technique and the proper ways to play. So it's a lot of fun.
Duh.
Yeah, there you go. Absolutely.
Excuse me. Make it sound so easy.
Well, it's a simple game.
It is. All right. Well, what we're going to do is we're going to take a quick break, and we will be back with more of the Golf and Travel Show in just a minute, so stay tuned. And we are back, and it's time for, I think, a little message from one of my favorite sponsors, and I think yours as well, Jess.
Absolutely, and another beautiful day out at the Boca Dunes Golf and Country Club, which is located in South Palm Beach County, one of Boca Raton's best-kept secrets, and not for long, talking about it here on the Golf and Travel Show. With a par 72 championship and an executive golf course, both courses are a challenge for all skill levels. With the only lighted driving range in Boca Raton, there's a putting green and snack shop, all open till 10 p.m. Discounted memberships available for only $60 and receive discounted rates and afternoon specials. There's a 9-hole Thursday night league for only $13 a player. You can call the Pro Shop at 561-451-1600 extension 101 for additional information. If you've never played Boca Dunes, come and see for yourself what a great course this is. Located at 1400 Country Club Drive in West Boca Raton, or check out their website at bocadunes.com. For tee times and additional information, please call 561-451-1600 extension 101 and mention you heard about them on the Golf and Travel Radio Show and receive $10 off morning rates.
And we are back, and God, that takes me back a long ways, but with all apologies and due respect, I just needed something for our next guest, and he's a guy that I've been reading about and following for many, many years, as his offices are right nearby in Jupiter, working on some very, very neat golf course projects around the world with some very famous people, famous clients, and he's been doing it for a long time, and it's it's unfortunate because when you don't have a name of somebody who's been on the PGA Tour, like a Jack Nicklaus or an Arnold Palmer, it's not as easy to get the recognition. But he's been paying the dues and doing the hard work and putting out some really, really nice golf courses. And I wanted to get a little bit more information about some of those golf courses, maybe his take on what they've done over at Pinehurst, and just talk to somebody who really understands what it's like to build a golf course as opposed to just play one like what we do. So, so without any further ado, I'd like to welcome John Sanford from John Sanford, the golf course designer. John, are you with us?
I'm here, and thank you very much.
Well,
love the intro.
It's a pleasure. And again, I apologize for the music, but I just couldn't. I had to go there.
That was perfect.
But before we get into some of these really, really cool projects, I did want to just briefly touch on your opinions on what's going on over in Pinehurst, and then we could talk about all the wonderful work you're doing around the world. But I know that they've made some changes. They typically do. They make the open courses typically brutally difficult, and Pinehurst, it's a legendary golf course, been around forever. It's difficult enough, at least for people like me, but the pros, they hit the ball so far, they've got to always make it a little bit tougher. So based on what's been going on there, the changes this year, how do you think it's going to handle it? What kind of score do you think might be a winning score, and does it appeal to any player in particular, you think?
It's all, yet to be seen, Dan. Some major changes at Pinehurst with the Core Crenshaw restoration. They really made an effort to take it back to more of the Donald Ross original design, and it's going to be a completely different Open, from a strategic and playability standpoint than we've seen in decades. The 22-yard wide fairway cuts are gone in this. It's basically all short grass, 40, 50-yard wide fairways with, definite positioning to have a better, the best shot into the green with the best angle. And then outside of the short grass is going to be, sand and gunch. So, it's going to be a different Open than we've seen in memorable history, and it's going to be very interesting.
Well, is there a particular favorite that you have based on these changes that you think might have an advantage based on the way their game plays?
Well, conventional wisdom tells you that the long hitters are going to have an advantage because it's basically wide open. And I'm not so sure that that's actually going to be the case because one of the things, and I'm getting a little technical here, but one of the things that they did that's very interesting is they really have a very limited irrigation system. They really just did a center row irrigation system, which is going to cover about 20 to 25 yards down the middle of the fairway. But with short grass at 45 or 50 yards wide, you're going to have the shots that aren't right down the middle. The tee shots are going to be in very dried out, depending upon the weather and whether it's rained or not, and whether it's going to rain in the next week. You're going to have some seriously crusty lies, both from the fairway and around the greens. So it's going to be difficult in a different way. I haven't seen the renovation. I'm going to be up there next weekend to see it, and I'm really looking forward to it. But I can just see these really tight, crusty lies around the greens where these guys have to hit some delicate shots, and I think we're going to see some interesting play that's going to be different from any other Open that we can remember.
Now, when you go to watch, are you going to kind of see what your competitors do as far as their design work, learn from the things that worked, and learn from the things that didn't work? I mean, would that be a fair assessment?
Of course, I'm always doing that. Every time I play golf, it's an affliction. I'm looking at the design and what I like, what I don't like. I mean, that's inherent. But in this particular case, I've played number 2 a number of times. I was there for the 05 Open. I know the golf course from what it was. And I haven't seen it since Mr. Core and Mr. Crenshaw renovated. So I'm really kind of, what I'm looking forward to, other than just watching the golf tournament itself, is what changes they made and how it affects the strategy and the playability of the golf course.
Interesting. Okay, well, enough on that. Why don't we change gears a little bit? And I know that you've been working on a very high-profile project with a very high-profile partner, and up in the New York area where I'm originally from, and I know that it's in the vicinity of, I think, one of the first, if not the first, golf course that was ever built, I think, in Cortlandt Park, I believe, in the Bronx.
Yep. Cortlandt, right up the street.
Yep. So, but this is a little bit different, I'm sure, and of course, your partner on the project was Jack Nicklaus, and you worked with him, and why don't you tell us a little bit about that project, what it's all about, and how the experience was for you?
Well, I can tell you this, Dan, that the Reader's Digest version is it was a marathon of high hurdles.
Why am I not surprised?
And I mean that in a good way. First of all, the site, which is located right on the East River at the base of the Whitestone Bridge, for anybody who knows the area up there.
Sure, I was just up there at City Field actually, so I was right up there.
Right.
Nice.
Yeah. So and we stayed in a hotel close to there, and it's 5 to 7 minutes depending upon traffic from that location. But it was, it's a former landfill. So right away that brings in a number of major technical and environmental issues that have to be crossed. Now, we were very fortunate that we were involved in another landfill golf course project up in the Boston area called Granite Link. So we had some good experience with this type of engineering issues that landfills, when you're closing them and transitioning them into a golf course, the steps you have to go through. But when you enter, that aspect, changing a landfill to a golf course, and then, the client is New York City Parks and Recreation Department, and, you're dealing with a union contractor that's never built a golf course before. It tends to present a few obstacles.
Wait, but can I just interrupt for 1 second? I have to ask this question before I forget. Okay, you're working on landfills in Boston. You're working on landfills in New York. Do you uncover anything really bizarre and unusual that you can tell us about?
Not that I can tell you.
Okay, that's what I figured. Okay, sorry to interrupt, but I had to know. Go continue, please.
I had to sign a confidentiality agreement on anything uncovered in both cases.
I can imagine.
Actually, not to digress, but in Boston, that landfill, the fill that we brought to the landfills came from downtown Boston, where they were digging the central artery, which was what we called historic fill. And so this was centuries of fill that had gone into the harbor over the years in Boston, since the Tea Party. So there was all kinds of cool, relics, things that, from the 17 and 1800s that were brought to the site in Boston. New York wasn't quite that interesting, but
I thought you were going to say Jimmy Hoffa you found or something.
Everybody asked about Jimmy. We didn't find Jimmy yet.
So working for the city, of course, is very difficult. You're working with people that are not usually doing golf courses. You got unions, and we know that makes it more difficult. So how did it all end? Can you just bring us to the? It was a happy ending, I hope.
It really is, Dan. I have to tell you, it was between the design process, the permit process, and the construction process. It was a 5-year project for us, and we were very, very blessed to have it, especially in times when the industry was ailing a bit. But it was, as I said earlier, it was a marathon of high hurdles, and it was just really coming to the office every day and grinding it out like you're trying to finish your round and trying to just make every putt and do whatever you can to make it the best you can. And of course we had a great team. We had a great group of consultants and with Mr. Nicholas and his people involved, that helps a lot. But it was a tough job, and I think the bottom line, and to answer your question, is it's a phenomenal golf course.
Well, I can't wait to see it. That's for sure. Now, we only got another minute or two, but I know that you've done some projects all over the world. Where's your favorite place, or where you built a golf course, or the best piece of land that you had an opportunity to develop in some interesting far-off land?
We've had the good fortune to build several courses in Egypt, and I've got to tell you, it's desert, obviously, but it's some of the most beautiful landscape that you can imagine. With ocean or Red Sea to mountains and incredible sunsets, and with the contrast when you get the course grown in with the green grass and the desert, some really cool spots over there. And then also I have to throw out our course up in the Ocala area, Juliet Falls. Incredible piece of property, great undulation, great trees. Really fun project that came out really well and we're very proud of.
Well, it's easier for us to get there than to Egypt, so we have to go check that out then as well.
I threw that one in there because you got a chance to get to Ocala.
Now, absolutely. If anybody is listening who's in the golf course business or plays at a golf course that needs to be renovated, updated, or they want to build an additional 9 or 18 holes, how's the best way for them to find out about you and reach out to you?
Go on the website, Google Sanford Golf Design, and it's all right there. Everything right there for you.
Well, it's been great to, like I say, finally get a chance to talk to you. I've been, reading about you and following you forever, but we really didn't get this chance, and it took too long, but I'm glad we finally had the opportunity.